How often have you left things to the last minute? It's Monday morning and you've slept in, or you didn't realize the time, and you all of a sudden realize, oh, I've got to get going. Oh, and I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. I'm Lewis Carroll, I believe, wrote that. And, we tend to all do that. Today, we're going to discuss what the implications are. So, what's up? Let's discuss. So often, we are rushed in today's society. I can remember my mom and dad going to work. It never really seemed to be as rushed as everything is nowadays. Oh, we gotta hurry up, we gotta go. Oh, we gotta hurry up, we gotta go. And yet, no one really gets there any faster. And yet, as diabetics, we pay the price. So that's what we're going to talk about. So, good morning, Mike's Diabetes World. You thought I forgot, didn't you? So, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, no one ever really talked to me about this. The only thing they said, well, you gotta eat before you go out. And when I started to work, it kind of, I'll grab something on the way. But you never really grab it. And then, maybe around 10 or so, you start feeling a little funny. And I don't know, you're in a business meeting. Or for some of you, it may be going to classes and, oh, I can't leave. And if I eat something in class, I'm going to be Joe's, singled out. That's the word I was looking for. So, what do? Well, you plan. And you want to kind of have protein bars or breakfast bars or breakfast shake in your refrigerator. You want to have breakfast bars in your briefcase, and have these before. Don't wait till the day to go racing around and, oh, I forgot to buy them. It's nice to, be halfway to work and realize, oh yeah, I've got this. Cans of orange juice, single servings can help. And because usually once you hit your office or your place of work, you're running. And I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively. you sit behind that desk and you delve right into the paperwork. And then you start feeling the lows, and you look up at the clock and you say, oh, well, it's only half an hour to lunch. I can hold on to that. And you sit there and, you start slurring your words. And then you get this mentality that I think all diabetics have. The headstrong mentality. Oh, I'm fine. Because I know, excuse me. Oh, I'm sleeping my eyes still, I guess. People seem to think, oh, well, if I can just get this done. And then there's always something else that'll come up. And I had a secretary when I worked for a convenience store chain who used to say, well, if you're feeling low, why don't you just eat something? No one's going to really chastise you for that. It's a medical reason. And that's when I really started to notice that I was unable to tell when I had low blood sugar. So that really helped out quite a bit. Yay. So what can you do? Well, you can always get up when your alarm rings and get a chance to eat, because really, probably by no fault of your own, if you sleep in, now that could be your fault, but you could have, oh, there's a cafeteria at work, I can get something there, or there's a donut store downstairs. Now, chances are your blood sugar is going to be super high. I know I have said in the past that with type 1 diabetic, you could have a donut and then make sure you just correctly count the carbs and have the donut. But that's not every day. And we are creatures of habit. And we constantly want to do that. We want to eat and get everything taken care of, and they are good, aren't they? The chocolate filled, or just the glazed, or the Bismarcks or the Bear Claws. Oh, everyone loves sugar, and diabetics aren't any different. But even stopping off at McDonald's would be better than just letting things go. And when I worked, and I slept in or whatever, and I was in a rush, I didn't really do any planning. And I can tell you, I actually paid the price. There were times where I would race out the door. Now, I was lucky in the early days when I lived with my parents that my mother would make sure I had a breakfast ready a lot of times. But then there were times I didn't expect it all the time, and I would race and run out that door, and sometimes I just totally forgot to eat. And you get going, and people start asking you questions. The bus is late and you don't want to race into a fast food place because that bus will come. And if you miss that bus, you're really going to be late. And so that's where your plans come into effect. You should have an A plan, a B plan, and sometimes a C plan. I mentioned some already. Your A plan could be, well, I'm going to get up on time, I'm going to shower, I'm going to shave, I'm going to, put on my clean suit and head out the door. Well, that's great. And I can tell you that can work for maybe a Monday. You're rested from the weekend and you're ready to go. But by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are sort of the evil plans. Thinking, oh well, you're getting tired from the week and you just want to sleep in. Oh, sorry, I just had to get the leaf out of my... So, have your A plan. You know what time you have to get up. You know what time you have to get out the door. And move on. No one had this little chat when I started. I learned the hard way. I would get up. I would go to the office. If I was lucky, I would head down to the cafeteria. But you see, a lot of times, I had a class and I never thought of having something in the room with me. A bottle of Coke, a can of Coke. And the funny thing was I worked for a convenience store chain. But you need to take care of you too. Well, your job is important. You're going to get so much more done if your blood sugars are in line. And I would sit there, be teaching in class and say, oh, if I could just get through this. And then when it broke, I would break all records to get to the cafeteria when we broke for a break or whatever. But we need to be aware of how your body can react. And if you're not taking care of you, who else will? I've run into problems where I'd end up eating my lunch for breakfast, which, you get hungry and you eat that, and then you're flying high for the rest of the day, blood sugar wise. So, ABC plans. A being, if everything works out alright. Let's take a look at lunch. If you were at lunch and your ideal plan is you brought your lunch from home and you went down to the cafeteria, you ate it, you did your glucometer reading, you took your insulin, and everything's fine. B might be, oh well, I forgot my lunch sitting on the counter. It could be if you're in an office and you have a cafeteria, maybe go down and buy a lunch as an emergency. say, well, can I pay in advance? And if I'm, getting close to payday and you don't have the funds, so that you're never going to be without. Nothing is as sad and as a person going around asking if they can borrow money for lunch. A lot of people seem to think, well, they don't plan very well, do they? And I'm talking anyone. I'm not talking diabetics. So, leaf or a cup or something. Oh, it was leaf. We got a leaf. So, planning and having different plans. There were times, if I was working in the store, I would have a gift card. So that I could have something to eat off of it. And the sad thing is, excuse me, anything which is fast and prepared usually has a lot of salt and hidden sugars. Good morning. So, the best idea is the night before, packed lunch. But you can, you get so that you're racing and, you went to some event. I can remember, and it was always Christmas time. And we had our Christmas parties, but they were always on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night. And that was done so that people wouldn't drink, because in their minds they had to work the next day. Sounds great. And you know what? Every morning, because being part of the HR, I was expected to go. And I went and I had a great meal. I got to admit, the company did an awesome job. And so often, the next morning, I'll be running late. And then I would feel it. I would feel the low coming on. That was back when I could still feel the lows. And I would be in a meeting, didn't feel like I could get up. And one day, I'm sure most of your office have this around the Christmas seasons, or is, if anyone wants to bring in treats or whatever, you put them on a certain table and everyone can help themselves. And this was a very good table, and but it's all sugar. If anyone brought in, I can remember someone brought in some apples, and they sat there. One or two were taken, but you brought a piece of apple pie, and everyone was there eating it. So you want to ensure that having your plans. I started to have not only my low blood sugar snacks in my desk, but maybe protein bar or a breakfast bar. Now, how does that do for today's life? Well, I get up, and if I'm going out to anywhere I sort of have to travel a while to get to, I mean, it could be across town, but a bus or a SkyTrain, I pack an emergency ration kit. It's actually a crew cooler too. I do have a video on here, and one day I will link them so you can watch at any time. But this was a good place, and in it I have different forms of sugar. I have some chili in there, prepackaged. I have some pop. You want to ensure that there's always something to eat. Don't be the guy out there who you start having a low blood sugar and you say, oh, I can treat it when I get home. Because that's the day where your blood sugar's going to drop and you're just going to get the shakes, you're going to pass out, and you're going to wake up in emergency. Take care of you first. I'm sure most of your business associates will appreciate that. Anyway, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.